Microsoft Excel is required on a lot of jobs today. This is why companies test candidates to make sure candidates have required skills. The biggest challenge, though, as a lot of students tell me, is that a lot of online tutorials and videos contain outdated questions. This is why some students asked me, what are the questions asked today? And this is the main reason we put together this video to show you sample Excel interview questions asked today.
Hi there, this is Vadim Mikhailenko, and in this video I'll share with you how to pass an employment assessment test.
In this video, I will share with you sample Excel interview questions asked today. I will also share with you answers and solutions to the questions. We will have questions for you to try. And based on the requests from my students, I packed this video with tips, tricks, and hacks that I share with you in between the questions. If you don't need any additional advice or may already know the information, make sure to skip to the next question. Here, in this video, you will have everything you need to pass Excel interview and get hired.
In this video, I will share with you sample questions we see on the tests. I will have some questions for you to try, and I'll show you tips, tricks, and hacks on how to get ready and pass the test. I will also share with you some additional test resources that might benefit you and might help you to get ready for the test quickly.
Here's the sample question you might see on the test. Which action do you need to perform before applying subtotals? And there are 4 choices. Format the data in column B, format the data in column A, sort the data in column A, and sort the data in column B. Do you think you know the answer?
Let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Vadim Mikhailenko, and I have MBA and master's degree in computer science. I have been helping people for more than 25 years to get hired and find jobs. I have founded How to Analyze Data.net website with only intent to help people get employment. This site helped a lot of people, and I'm pretty sure it will help you as well.
And now, let's jump straight to the questions, answers, and solutions. Very often, during Excel assessment test, you might be tested on how well you know Excel formatting. One of the questions we see on the screen is in a similar category. How to increase decimals of a value which has percentage sign. And there are choices presented for you in the explanation of what exactly you're looking for to accomplish. For example, you need to go from 76% to 76.25, from 70 after rounding 69.75, and etc. And there are 4 choices presented. So which one would you choose? You see the values in this example are replicated from cells I3 through I7. So how would you increase percentage sign? You actually use this button, which calls for increase decimal. And once you click it once, it increases decimal by 1 decimal point. If you click it twice, it adds 2 decimal points, which exactly mimics the answer. Or instead of selecting one at a time, you can select all of the values and then click it twice to increase decimal points. So the correct answer here is B, which is increase decimal point. And once you see the answer, you need to click increase decimal point value twice after you selected all the range of values to increase decimal points. A lot of times when you work with the data from another source, you may need to separate the data into the separate columns. For example, here we see a combination of first and last name in column A, but in columns B and C, you see these values as separate values. So how would you do it? Which Excel function would you use? You're presented with the 4 different choices: text to column, separate function, split function, and split to column. Which one would you choose? And the correct answer here is split to column. To access this functionality, you need to select the values and navigate to the Data tab. Here you select text to column, and it offers you different choices. For example, it offers as a delimited text or fixed width. In our case, it's a delimited, and delimitation comes with the space sign that we use to separate the values. Instead of tab, we choose space, which is one of the values, and you see this is how the separation and split will be performed. We click the next button, and here we can assign data types to the data. If we don't do it, then Excel will assign general data type, and then we can click finish. And you see that it automatically replaced the values in column A and column B. And now we have first and last name in the separate columns. So the correct answer is answer A, text to column function. This function is used to separate words that have a separator character, for example, space, special character, tab, or any unique word. Keep in mind that even though we call it function, it is not really a function, it's a functionality. And below are instructions on how to use it. Other choices here in the list, separate function, or split to column, they do not exist in Excel. So you kind of have to know what you're dealing with, and that's what the purpose of this question, to test your knowledge on this particular functionality, and if you have used it as part of data conversion.
Let me share with you some information that you probably don't know.
Based on our recent research, most assessment test providers deduct points for incorrect answers. So it is not a good idea to guess answers during the test. You can ask the provider to see how they handle incorrect answers. If they deduct points for incorrect answers, you might consider skipping the questions where you do not know the answers to. Now let's continue and get you ready for the assessment test. Here's the question that tests your knowledge of how well you know data integration and how well can you write formulas that reference other worksheets in Microsoft Excel. Which formula can be used to get value of a cell A1 from the sheet named value sheet? And then there's an example, value from the value sheet, right? And you have four choices. In the first choice, you use value sheet name, exclamation mark A1. In the choice B, you have value sheet minus A1. Choice C, value sheet at A1, and there's no space here, so gotta keep that in mind too. And then choice D is value sheet with the space, and then you have exclamation mark A1. So choices D and A look very similar, but this one has single quotes around the value sheet, and choice A doesn't have single quotes. So what do you think is the right answer here? As you can see here in Excel itself, the correct choice is in single quotes value sheet exclamation mark A1. So let me walk you through the logic here. So we have value sheet tab, right? But because the sheet name has a space, you need to include it into single quotes. And then to reference the value, you always put exclamation mark and then the cell A1, which if we navigate to value sheet would be value right from here, from A1. And there's a practice sheet for you, so you can download this Excel workbook. Just follow the link in the description of this video so you can practice this particular exercise on your own and come up with answers from value sheet as well. And as we go back to the document, you see that the correct choice is value sheet in single quotes A1, which is choice D, and it explains here why other choices are incorrect and what's going to happen if you use those. In the case of value sheet A1, it's going to show an error because you cannot use space, and if you use space in the sheet name, then it has to be in single quotes. This one is just a name, a minus. It's a formula ultimately, but there's nothing here referencing value sheet minus A1, so it's going to be an error. And value sheet without the space, colon A1 is also incorrect because colon is not the right reference to reference the sheet. So I am pretty sure you got this one correctly. And now it's your turn. Please make sure to post your answer in the comment section below this video so I can give you the grade. Here's the question for you to answer. Which of the following is the correct formula to calculate the weighted average score in cell C8 as shown below? And there are four choices here. Choice A, use average formula. Choice B, use sum product formula with the arguments presented on the screen. Choice C is also use sum product formula but with the different set of arguments. And choice D, use average formula. Which one do you think is the correct choice here? Please make sure to post your answer in the comment section of this video so I can give you the grade.
Let's talk about best practices on how to get ready for employment assessment test.
If this option is available and you have a choice, try to schedule assessment test in the morning when you have highest levels of energy. Get a good night's sleep before the test. And please do not take the test if you're tired, since a lot of questions require your top mental energy performance. During the test, read each question carefully, ideally more than once. Questions are designed to be tricky, and each and every detail in the question might be important. If you have a choice, try to answer easy questions first. This would allow you to leave harder questions for the end, but you will get easy answers in and you will get the points for them. Try to validate your answers with more than one method. For example, if you do an Excel assessment test, you can do manual calculation. You can try to use formulas for calculations, use calculator, or use pivot tables to validate your answers. And last but not least, try not to guess the answers, as some providers deduct points for incorrect selections. Let's look at this question, which you might see as part of Indeed assessment test or LinkedIn assessment test. How would you add a chart in a cell to show sales data for the last 12 months? And then there are 4 choices that you're presented with. Add an image of the chart in the cell, add comments and add chart to that, hyperlink to the chart on another sheet, and then the last one, add a sparkline, a graphic that shows a sales graph. Which one would you choose? Which one do you think is the right answer? Let's look at this Microsoft Excel example. You have a table which has the product names, Apple iPhone and MacBook Air, and then you have month in the year from January until December with certain sales values. And then you have a space here in one cell where you would need to insert a chart. The best way to represent the data of the sales from January until December would be sparkline. To insert a sparkline, you put the value, the cursor on the cell where you would like to insert it, then you click on insert, and in the sparkline section there are 3 different choices for sparkline. So let's start with line. You choose a line and then you select the range, which would calculate the value of sparkline. And then you put the location range, which is in our case is 04, so which is correct, and we can click OK, and you see that Excel inserted the sparkline. Another way to insert sparkline would be to use a bar chart sparkline, which is a little bit different. Let's go ahead and do it. To do it, we'll put a cursor into the cell 05 and then go to insert sparkline, and we'll call it column sparkline, and then we'll select the range in the row 5, and then we'll confirm that location would be 05, click OK, and then you see that this is the bar sparkline or column sparkline. Now you have different styles here. You see that the context sensitive menu appeared for sparkline, and you have different choices. You can indicate high point, negative point, and use other features, maybe marker colors. So play with those features as you answer the questions. You can always download the practice file, which I give with this set of questions. So make sure to take advantage of that so you can have a way, and there's a room for you for the practice files right here in this tab in Excel. As you might have figured by now, the correct answer is D, which is add sparkline, a graphic that shows in the cell graph. Now, adding an image would not look good as it's not going to be legible, so that's not a valid choice. You also need to understand that the comments in Excel do not have ability to add the charts. And then hyperlinking defeats the purpose of the question, as we're supposed to add chart in a cell. So make sure to pick a sparkline as a valid choice for this type of question. Hope you've got it right.
People contact me and ask what's changed during COVID-19. Let's look at the changes in employment assessment test process that have happened recently.
One of the biggest changes is the fact that a lot of people work remotely, which means a lot of hiring also happening remotely. Provider might ask you to install special software to monitor your desktop activities. They might also ask you to enable your camera to see what you're doing during the test. Another big shift we see is that the questions become more relevant to the position. For example, if you're applying for accountant or bookkeeper job, make sure you know how to import the data, do profit and loss reports, calculate the expenses, and calculate the annual statements. These are the types of questions that you might see for that specific position. Researching the company and researching the test provider always works for our students. Once you know who the provider is, you can try to go to their website to see the sample questions to get an idea what kind of questions you're going to get on the test. It is always a good idea to refresh your hands-on skills and practice before the test. This gives you necessary boost of confidence and allows to pass the test with the higher grade. If you didn't pass the test, make sure to reflect after it. Take notes and develop an action plan to see what the next steps might be to get you the job. And now it's your turn. Please make sure to post your answer in the comment section below this video so I can give you the grade. Here's the question for you to answer. You need to display last day of the month based on the month's ID in the year. Which formula should be entered in the cell G2 to accomplish this objective? And you have 4 choices. EO months and the range B2 through F2, and then G1. E month and then $B $2, comma G1. Choice C, E months and then $B $2, comma B2 plus G1. And then choice D, month and then in parentheses G $2 plus G1. Which one do you think is the right answer? Make sure to post your answer in the comment section of this video so I can give you the grade.
A lot of students ask me, how can I learn quickly? Let's look at all different options based on recent scientific research.
One of the most effective ways to learn we recommend to our students is a mixed mode learning. You use a variety of different resources during mixed mode learning and alternate between them to ensure better comprehension of the material. For example, if you're trying to get ready for Excel assessment test, you can start by watching YouTube videos, then practice the steps in Microsoft Excel, read related topics in the ebook, and then experiment with a variety of questions during practice test. Now let's look at the typical questions that tests your knowledge of Excel formatting features. Which option can we use if the text in the cell is being cut off and we want to see all the text without increasing the width of the column? And there are 4 choices: wrap text, wrap column, change alignment, and then fill handle. Which one would you choose? Which one do you think is the right answer? If text in Microsoft Excel is longer than the cell itself, for example, in the case of cell A5, it continues to flow in the same row. The best way to address this is the wrap text feature. You just need to put your cursor into the specific cell and then click wrap text. And once you do that, the entire text will fit, as Microsoft Excel will extend the cell to fit the size of the text. So this is the wrap feature, and I also have some practice exercises for you. So make sure to download this practice workbook so you can practice answering this question. So the correct answer here is A, which is wrap text. And let's look at other choices that have been presented here in the questions: wrap column, change alignment, and then fill handle, and why they're not the right choices. So wrap column is not a valid feature in Microsoft Excel, and then changing the alignment will only move the alignment of the text, and some text will still be cut off. And then fill handle is used to drag formulas or cell content down, and it's not going to help us. So those choices presented, B through D, are just designed to trick you, and hopefully you pick the right one, which is the A, wrap text. Let's look at the question which tests your knowledge of Microsoft Excel charts and graphs. Which chart among the option is the best for showing time-based data? And the key here is time-based data. So as always, with any questions related to Microsoft Excel and Excel test, just pay to every little detail on the question itself. And we have 4 choices: column chart, bar chart, radar chart, and then line chart. Which one would you choose? Which one do you think is the right option? Let's look at some considerations and a little description of the charts, which might be helpful. So column chart creates a bar for each data point. Similar like a column chart, the bar chart also creates a bar for each line of the data. And then radar chart is used for demonstrating the data in 2 dimensions. Now let's go into Excel and look at how would we pick the right answer among these 4 choices. So the correct answer is line chart. And the reason it is a correct answer is because that's the chart that best represents quantities sold over time. So let's look at how you can add the line chart here. So you select the data range, you navigate to insert, and then you pick the line chart tab, and then you have multiple different choices. And then you basically will format the chart after you inserted the type that you like. To this chart on the screen, I added the background. I made the line a little bit thicker, but you see that January through June, it shows the quantities that have been sold and how they increase over time. And the important point is it's not a cumulative number of units sold. It just increases over time. So you see in January we had 2 items sold, and in June it increased to 5 items sold per day. And that's what this chart shows. We go from 2 to 5. And keep in mind there is a practice chart for you, so you can practice generation of the chart, and make sure to download this practice worksheet. Now let's go back to the PowerPoint slide, and I'll explain you why other choices were not the correct choices. So as you have figured it out by now, the correct answer is D, which is the line chart. And then the reason it's the correct answer because other choices are incorrect, and that's definitely the best way to display time-based data. So what we know is that column chart creates individual bars, and it's not good for displaying time-based data. And bar chart does the same. And then radar chart is best used for comparing the data, and it's not a good choice for displaying time-based data. So correct choice is D, line chart. Hopefully you've got it right.
One of the best ways to learn is try to test your knowledge periodically. I encourage you to participate in our daily question challenge.
Every day we post a new question in the community section of the channel. you have an opportunity to test your knowledge and validate your skills on the different topics. This is one additional reason to subscribe to the channel, because this way all the questions will be delivered to you automatically. And now it's your turn. Please make sure to post your answer in the comment section below this video so I can give you the grade. And now here's the question for you to answer. Assume an organization forecasting revenue of $180,000 for the period of 2014 through 2018. Which function should be entered in the cell E6 so it shows income in 2016 as if it was above forecast, or displays 0 if the value is below forecast? And you have choices, 4 choices in fact, A, B, C, and D, and all involve if formula. Which one do you think is right? Please make sure to post your answer in the comment section of this video so I can give you the grade.
I would like to give you a tip. There are a lot of different providers that conduct employment assessment tests.
Most common providers that do assessment tests today are Indeed.com, IKM, SkillCheck, eSkills, Kenexa, SHL, and a lot of others. Employer typically requests provider to administer assessment tests, and then provider contacts the candidates to conduct the test. A lot of times, provider has a sample test questions on their website.
Once you know which provider will be assessing your skills, it's a good idea to visit their website to find sample questions.
Now let's look at the Excel test question that is frequently used at LinkedIn or Indeed.com or other types of tests, and tests your knowledge of number formatting. How would you modify the cell so that the cell containing the value 8.856 displays as 9? And you have 4 choices. Click decrease decimal button twice, click decrease decimal button 3 times, click increase decimal button twice, and then use round function. Which one do you think is the right choice? One thing I'd like to point out here in these types of questions, we only change in display value, and it shows displays as 9, so we're not trying to change the actual value here. So keep that in mind as you think of the right answer. So in Microsoft Excel, in the Home tab, in the Number section, there are 2 buttons. One button you have increased decimal, and another button is decreased decimal points. I'm going to jump to the correct answer right away, which is decrease decimal point button 3 times. That's what you need to click. So if we go here and then we click not increase button, but decrease decimal points, and we click it 3 times, then we get to the value 9 as it decreases this 3 digits after the dot, and we have this final value of 9 after clicking it 3 times. And there are also other choices displayed here and results that they lead to. For example, display value adjustment, decrease decimal button twice, so we still have dot 9 after the dot, right? Or increase, we're actually adding 2 zeros, or using the round function, which is, in our case, we're not changing just the display value, we're changing the underlying value itself. And obviously there are some practice exercises for you, so you can download this worksheet and practice with the link right in the description of this video. And as you might have figured out by now, the correct answer is B, which is click decrease decimal button 3 times. And other choices are incorrect, and here I showed the reasons why they're incorrect, and we just covered them in Microsoft Excel. Hopefully you've got this one right.
Let me give you a couple reasons why you might consider subscribing to online training for everyone.
Knowing latest assessment test questions and answers helps you to get ready for the interview and assessment test and improves your job mobility. We share with you latest questions asked during the interview. You get access to the daily challenge question. You see questions and answers people posting in the comment section of this video, and you get access to other people's experiences. You also have opportunity to help other people by answering their questions. We have a community of great people already subscribed to this channel, and these people are here ready to help you with the challenges you are experiencing. Subscribing to online training for everyone is an exciting opportunity to get ahead in your career. Thank you for your time and consideration, and looking forward to have you as a member in this channel. Now let's continue and get you ready for the assessment test. Let's look at the question that tests your knowledge of Microsoft Excel formulas and functions. One of the options presented is not like the others. Find the odd one. So which one would you choose? Option A, we have some function. B, also some function, but lists the value. Then you have choice C, which is we're adding 5 values, and then choice D, which is sum of B2, comma B6. So which one do you think is the right choice here? What's interesting about this question, it's designed to confuse you. The question designed to confuse you because 3 of the answers do have sum function, and answer choice C does not have the sum function. So you might be leaning toward this one because it's an odd one, right? But really the question is looking at the results and your knowledge of Microsoft Excel formulas and functions. For example, sum B2 and B6 will lead you to one certain answer, same as choice B, which is the sum B2, B5, B4, B1, and B6, right? So same range, B2 to B6, which would lead you to the right answer. Interesting thing is that the odd one is the one that doesn't lead to the same sum of the values, to the same result, which is choice D, because in that choice only 2 values are being added, B2 and B6. In all other options, in all other choices, A through C, all B2 through B6, which is B2, B3, B4, B5, and B6 values are being added, and then it results in the sum. So the odd one here is choice D. And it is the odd one because it only adds 2 choices instead of adding all 5 choices. Hopefully you've got this one right, because that was a tricky one.
Can I ask you to do me a favor? If you know someone who will benefit from this material and looking for the job, please share this content with them. I really appreciate it. This will help them find the jobs quickly. Thank you very much.
Now let's continue and get you ready for the assessment test.
Let me share you smart ways to get prepared for the test.
One of the smartest way to prepare is to find out who your provider is that will be conducting an assessment test, and use outlines and sample questions from the provider. The providers might be Indeed.com, SkillCheck, IKM, Kenexa, SHL, and a lot of others. Once you know who the provider is, you can go to their website, find out sample questions, and practice with sample questions. You can also practice LinkedIn assessment test questions on the topic that you will be assessed. LinkedIn test is free. It gives you exposure to the sample questions. And also, you can get a badge that will enhance your profile for potential employers. You can also research the topic you're trying to prepare for online and download ebooks to get ready for the test. Hands-on experience is very important. You can find relevant training and follow along to do hands-on exercises using practice videos on the training. If you have a question or ran into an obstacle during your practice exercises, try posting questions in the comment sections of the video. Channel owners or members of the channel monitor the questions and respond to the inquiries. And last but not least, consider subscribing to relevant YouTube channels. I encourage you to consider subscribing to Online Training for Everyone. We have a great community of people helping each other to prepare and pass the test. Here's Excel test questions to help better understand your knowledge of the user entries. How can you restrict users to only select the options from drop-down on a specific cell or range? And then there are 4 choices: conditional formatting, data validation, protect worksheet, protect workbook. Which one do you think is the right one? Data validation is the feature of Excel that used to restrict the values for the particular cell. For example, in the cell B8, if I click the drop-down box, you see only the choices, 5 choices of the products listed in the column A here. And they all gathered from the cells A2 through A6. To configure data validation, you need to select the cell and then go to Data tab and click on the Data Validation. And then based on the choices I've used to configure, we allow values from the list. So that's my limitation, that I only allow users to do the list. And then the source range is A2 through A6, which exactly matches here values of Apple iPhone to PS4. So as you might have figured out, the correct choice is data validation, because other choices are designed to trick you. Like conditional formatting is used to format cells based on a specific condition. Worksheet protection is used to restrict user from editing a range or a cell. And then workbook protection is used for restricting users from altering the workbook structure. So B is the correct choice. Hopefully you've got this one right.
Let me give you a tip on how to plan your time during the test.
As you're probably well aware, most of the assessment tests are timed. One thing you can do to increase your chances of passing the test is to calculate how much time would you have per question. For example, if you have 50 questions that you need to complete in 60 minutes, You can do a quick math in your head. By dividing 60 by 50, it will give you the answers that you need about 1.2 minutes per question, which is an equivalent of 72 seconds per question. Having this information handy will tell you how much time you need to allocate per each question. Now let's continue and get you ready for the assessment test. Very frequently, you're being tested on your knowledge of Excel formulas. And this is one of those questions, where you will be asked which formula is used to retrieve first 3 characters in a cell. And you're given 4 different choices: left, left char, get, and extract. So what does it mean, first 3 characters in a cell? It means that it's probably going to be on the left side. So for a sample of apple, you see on the column C, where the values are highlighted, first 3 characters would represent APP. For oranges, it would be ORA. So what do you think is the right choice here? As you're probably well aware, to get the first 3 characters on the left side, you would want to use the left formula. And when you type left and then in parentheses the cell value and then number of characters you'd like to retrieve on the left-hand side, it actually gets all these characters and puts them in a different cell. So for example, in this case, for apple, we'll get first 3 characters, APP. And we can replicate this formula by dragging the sign here at the bottom right corner, and then it will replicate the formula for oranges and cherries as well. So the correct answer here is A, which is the left A3, and then it shows the number of characters that you're trying to retrieve. Left char is not an existing function. Get and extract also are not an existing functions in Excel. And if you're trying to see if some particular function is an existing function, all you need to do is put the value into the cell and then type equal sign and then start typing, and you see the only function that starts with left is the left function itself. So choice A is the correct answer.
Thanks for watching. I encourage you to check out our daily question challenge in the community section of this channel. I also recommend that you check downloads in the description section of this video. Please also check out resources page on our website, howtoanalyzedata.net/resources. If you like the content, please give this video a big thumbs up. This tells us that you need more content like this. I would encourage you to share this video with other people that might be looking for the job. This will help them to get prepared and pass assessment test faster. Please consider subscribing and following this channel. We have a community of great people helping each other to get ready and pass the test. Please leave questions, comments, or suggestions in the comment section of this video. And all the best on your interview and assessment test. Thanks for watching.